Picture this, a quiet, unassuming hotel in the middle of nowhere. Guests come and go, enjoying the peace and tranquility. But there's one room that never seems to stay occupied for long. Room 13. The hotel's staff would rather not talk about it, but the rumours persist. Strange noises in the night, unexplained cold spots, and most unnerving of all, guests who check in and never check out. Let's rewind a bit. The first incident happened in 1982. A young couple just married checked into room 13. They were seen entering, laughing and carrying their luggage. But when morning came, they were gone. Their belongings left behind. The door still locked from the inside. Local authorities were baffled. No signs of a struggle, no forced entry, nothing. It was as if they had simply vanished into thin air. Over the years, more guests disappeared. A travelling salesman, a solitary writer, even a family of 3. Each time the same pattern. They'd check in, settle into room 13, and by morning they'd be gone without a trace. The hotel's management tried everything. Blessings, exorcisms, even bricking up the room for a few years. But nothing worked. Room 13 remained a chilling enigma. In 2010, a paranormal investigator named Sarah decided to spend the night in room 13. She was determined to uncover the truth. Equipped with cameras, recording devices, and an unwavering resolve, she checked in. What happened next is the stuff of nightmares. Her footage, recovered from the room, showed her talking to the camera, explaining the eerie sensations she felt. Chilling whispers, shadows moving in the corners. Her last words on the recording were a blood-curdling scream. Sarah, like the others, was never seen again. Today, room 13 remains empty, its door sealed shut. The hotel operates as usual, but the staff know better. They whisper about the curse, about the souls trapped within those walls. And they warn anyone who dares ask, stay away from room 13. So, next time you check into a hotel, you might want to think twice about staying in room 13. Who knows what might be waiting for you in the dark? But the story of room 13 doesn't end there. In 2022, a curious twist in the tale emerged. An old maintenance worker who had been with the hotel for decades finally broke his silence. He claimed to know the dark secret behind room 13. He spoke of a hidden passageway beneath the room, a relic from the hotel's construction days. This passageway, he said, led to an underground room, one that had been sealed off and forgotten. The hotel's management, skeptical but intrigued, decided to investigate. They drilled through the floor of room 13, revealing a narrow staircase descending into the earth. What they found at the bottom was chilling. A small, dimly lit chamber lined with old, crumbling bricks. In the centre of the room, a wooden table held an array of bizarre artifacts. Candles, ancient tomes, and cryptic symbols etched into the stone. It was a makeshift shrine, dedicated to some unknown entity. The air was thick with an oppressive energy, as if the room itself were alive. Among the items they discovered a journal, its pages filled with disturbing entries. The writer spoke of rituals performed to bind spirits, to trap them within the walls of the hotel. It was a desperate attempt to harness dark powers, to gain control over the supernatural. As they read the journal, the staff realized the horrifying truth. The disappearances in room 13 were not random. They were sacrifices, offerings to whatever dark force resided in that underground chamber. The spirits of the missing guests were bound to the room, unable to escape. The hotel had unwittingly become a prison for lost souls. The management quickly sealed the passageway, hoping to put an end to the curse. But the damage had already been done. The spirits of room 13 remain restless, their whispers echoing through the halls. The hotel is now a place of fear and mystery, a reminder of the dark secrets that lie just beneath the surface. So the next time you hear a strange noise in the night or feel a sudden chill, remember the story of room 13. Some secrets are better left buried. In 2024, a group of paranormal enthusiasts decided to investigate room 13. Armed with cameras and EMF detectors, they checked into the infamous room. As night fell, the atmosphere grew tense. Just after midnight, the EMF detectors started to spike. One camera captured a faint, misty figure moving across the room. A shadowy figure stood at the foot of the bed, its eyes glowing. As a team member tried to leave, the door slammed shut. Just when hope seemed lost, the door creaked open on its own. The team rushed out, leaving their equipment behind. The evidence was undeniable. Room 13 was indeed haunted. Room 13 was not a place to be taken lightly. Some doors are better left unopened. After the harrowing night in room 13, the paranormal enthusiasts were left shaken. But their curiosity was far from satisfied. They set up cameras and recording devices, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. Every frame was analyzed, dissected and re-examined. What they found was more than just proof of the paranormal. It was a window into the room's dark past. One recording revealed faint whispers, almost imperceptible to the human ear. Another clip showed a shadowy figure moving through the room with purpose. The team delved deeper into the history of room 13. They uncovered old records revealing mysterious disappearances and deaths. The most chilling discovery was a diary, hidden behind a loose brick. It belonged to a woman named Eliza, who stayed in room 13 in 1923. Her entries spoke of strange occurrences and a growing sense of dread. Her final entry was a frantic scrawl. The shadows are closing in. I fear I will never leave this room. The team realized the spirits were trapped, reliving their final moments. Determined to bring peace, they sought the help of a renowned paranormal expert. Together they conducted a cleansing ritual, hoping to free the spirits. Finally, a sense of calm settled over the room. In the weeks that followed, the hotel staff reported a noticeable change. The room still held an air of mystery, but it no longer felt malevolent. The investigation brought closure to the spirits trapped within its walls. The team left with a newfound respect for the mysteries of the supernatural. But the story of room 13 serves as a reminder. Some secrets are buried for a reason. What they found was beyond their wildest nightmares. The cleansing ritual brought peace to room 13, but echoes of its dark past lingered. The team couldn't shake the feeling that their work was not done. Weeks later, an investigator received an unexpected package. Inside was a letter addressed to Eliza, dated days before her disappearance in 1923. It was from her fiancé, Samuel, who warned her to leave room 13 immediately. Determined to uncover the truth, the team revisited the hotel. They brought a medium who communicated with Eliza's spirit. Eliza revealed that Samuel's spirit was still searching for her. The team conducted a final ritual, urging them to find each other and move on. The room felt lighter, and the hotel reported no further disturbances. Samuel and Eliza had finally found peace, their spirits united at last. The haunting of room 13 had ended, but the story would live on as a testament to love and the mysteries of the supernatural.
Do you believe in ghosts? I didn't used to, until I experienced something that I simply couldn't explain. It was a dark and stormy night, and I was staying at an old bed and breakfast in the countryside. The place had a creepy vibe, but I brushed it off as my imagination getting the best of me. However, as the night went on, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I couldn't sleep, so I decided to take a walk around the grounds. As I wandered through the gardens, I saw a figure standing in the shadows. At first I thought it was just a trick of the light, but as I got closer, I could see that it was a woman in a tattered white dress. She was staring right at me, and I felt a chill run down my spine. I called out to her, but she didn't respond. Instead, she started to slowly drift towards me. I turned and ran back to the bed and breakfast, but when I looked back, she was gone. I tried to tell myself that I was just tired and seeing things, but the memory haunted me all night long. The next morning, I asked the owner of the bed and breakfast about the woman in the white dress. To my horror, she told me that the property used to be a hospital during the Civil War, and that a young woman had died there under mysterious circumstances. People claim to have seen her ghost wandering the grounds, wearing the same tattered white dress that I had seen. I couldn't believe it. Had I really seen a ghost? The experience shook me to my core, and I couldn't wait to leave that place behind. I've never been able to shake the feeling of unease that I felt that night, and I still wonder if I truly came face to face with the supernatural. So the next time you find yourself in an old, creepy place, keep an eye out for things that go bump in the night. You never know what you might encounter, and some stories are better left untold. The terrifying encounter with the real life monster in my room. It was a night like any other. As darkness enveloped my room, little did I know an unimaginable horror lurked within the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This is the chilling tale of the night I came face to face with a real-life monster in my room. As the moon cast a faint glow through my window, a sense of unease filled the air suddenly. An eerie scratching sound broke the silence, intensifying my growing anxiety. I mustered the courage to investigate the noise, slowly inching towards my bedroom door, heart pounding like a drum. What I encountered next shattered my perception of reality. As the door creaked open, I saw a shadowy figure hunched over in the corner, the moonlight barely illuminated its grotesque form, revealing sharp claws and an unnerving, elongated face with glowing eyes. Frozen in terror, I could feel this monstrous creature's malevolent stare. Panic consumed me as its low growl reverberated through the room, sending shivers down my spine. The monster's presence felt tangible, sinister and utterly real. It was a creature born from the deepest nightmares, now dwelling among the four walls that was supposed to offer solace. Desperate to escape this waking nightmare, I reached for the light switch, praying it would illuminate the room and banish the abomination that loomed before me. Yet as the light flickered on, I found my worst fears confirmed. The monster was still there, unyielding and undeterred by the brightness that should have cast it away. Trembling with fear, I clutched my bedsheet, finding brief respite within my cocoon of fabric. But my sanctuary was short-lived. As the monster advanced with unnatural speed, its elongated limbs stretching towards me, its jagged teeth gnashed in anticipation of its ghastly feast. Determined to survive this nightmarish ordeal, I summoned all the courage within me. I lunged towards the door, desperate to escape the monster's clutches. My heart raced as adrenaline surged through my veins, propelling me further away from the terrifying menace that had invaded my sacred space. Clambering down the stairs, my breath came in ragged gasps. My mind raced, trying to comprehend the true nature of the monstrous entity that had haunted my room. Had it been a figment of my imagination, or a manifestation of fears long suppressed? From that harrowing night forward, I vowed to leave no stone unturned in my pursuit of the truth behind the monster's existence. Armed with my courage, curiosity, and a burning desire for answers, I embarked on a journey to uncover the mystery that had shaken the very foundations of my reality. Unknown to me at that moment, this encounter with the real-life monster in my room would reshape my perception of reality forever. The horrifying presence would serve as a catalyst, propelling me into a realm where the line between the supernatural and the ordinary blur, and where the true depths of darkness reside. Beware, for the monsters that haunt our dreams can materialize in the living world, lurking within the depths of our darkest fears, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike and forever alter our perception of reality. In a secluded village nestled deep within the woods, there stood an old abandoned house that cast a shadow of fear over the townspeople. The house was rumored to be haunted by the vengeful spirit of a woman named Eliza, who had met a tragic end within its walls many decades ago. It was a moonless night when a group of daring teenagers decided to test their courage and explore the forsaken house. Gathering at the edge of the forest, their hearts pounded with excitement and trepidation as they stared at the looming silhouette of the decrepit building as they made their way through the overgrown garden towards the house. A cold wind whispered through the trees, sending shivers down their spines. Pushing the front door gingerly, it groaned open, revealing a dark and foreboding interior illuminated only by the faint glow of their flashlights. The air inside was thick with dust and the scent of decay, and the floorboards creaked beneath their hesitant footsteps. Strange symbols and markings adorned the walls, hinting at a darker history that lay hidden within the house's walls. With each step, a sense of unease settled over the group. Whispers seemed to dance on the edge of their hearing, and shadows flickered in the corners of their vision. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the silence as one of the teenagers pointed a trembling finger towards the end of the hallway. There, bathed in an otherworldly glow, stood the ghostly figure of a woman in a tattered white gown. Her eyes were empty sockets, yet they seemed to bore into the souls of the intruders with a malevolent intent. Panic seized the group as they turned to flee, but the doors slammed shut with a resounding boom, trapping them inside with the vengeful spirit. The temperature plummeted, and a chilling mist filled the air as Eliza's spectral form floated towards them, emitting an anguished wail that echoed through the house. Desperation clawed at their hearts as they frantically searched for an escape, their screams blending with the ghostly cries that filled the haunted halls. Just when all hope seemed lost, a blinding light erupted from the darkness, engulfing the ghostly figure and banishing her back into the shadows from whence she came. Gasping for breath and hearts pounding in their chests, the teenagers found themselves standing outside the house, the night air cool against their sweat-drenched skin. They exchanged bewildered glances, unsure if what they had experienced was real or a shared nightmare. As they made their way back through the forest, the distant howl of a lone wolf seemed to carry a whisper of warning, a reminder of the dark secrets that lurked within the abandoned house, and the price of tempting fate. From that night on, the legend of the haunted house grew even stronger, a cautionary tale passed down through generations as a chilling reminder of the consequences of meddling with the spirits of the past. Do you have the nerve to hear a real-life scary story? Brace yourself for bone-chilling tales that will send shivers down your spine. These stories are not for the faint of heart, so prepare to be both captivated and terrified. Imagine a starry night, the air thick with anticipation, as a group of friends gather around a campfire. The crackling flames cast eerie shadows against their faces, amplifying the suspense in the air. One friend begins to weave a tale of a haunted house. The house, with its decaying facade and broken windows, has a dark history. Locals believe that the spirits of the past, residents still roam its halls, leaving a trail of fear and despair in their wake. As the story unfolds, the friends hear creaking floorboards and distant whispers. A chill runs down their spines, yet they can't tear themselves away from the captivating narrative. Every hair on their bodies stands on end as they visualize the ghostly encounters in their minds. Another friend shares a tale of a cursed object. This artifact, once possessed by an ancient evil, has left a trail of destruction wherever it goes. Unlucky individuals have experienced unexplained accidents and misfortunes after coming into contact with it. As the story progresses, the friends can't help but feel a sense of impending doom. They grip their chairs tightly, their hearts racing with a mixture of anticipation and fear. Sweat trickles down their foreheads as they imagine the consequences of interacting with such a malevolent force. Finally, one brave soul tells the story of a mysterious disappearance in a small town nestled in the countryside. People have vanished without a trace. Families have been torn apart by the agonizing uncertainty of their loved one's fate. The town is cloaked in a perpetual gloom, its residents living with the constant dread that they may be the next to disappear. The friends sit in stunned silence, their nerves rattled by the horrifying accounts they've just heard. The crackling fire seems to burn brighter. As they contemplate the existence of these chilling tales, goosebumps cover their arms as they realize that the darkness lurking in their imaginations might not be confined to fiction. Are you brave enough to delve into the depths of these real-life, scary stories? Only those with iron wills and unyielding resolve need apply. Step into the realm of terror, where the line between reality and the supernatural blurs, and discover what nightmares await you. Enter if you dare. Once upon a time, in a small and peaceful town nestled deep in the heart of the countryside, there existed a house that held a secret. This house, known as the Bates residence, seemed like any other from the outside, with its quaint white picket fence and welcoming facade. However, behind its innocent exterior, an eerie presence lurked. According to local legends, the Bates residence had a dark history, one that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to speak of it. It was said that the previous owners of the house, the Bates family, met a tragic end under mysterious circumstances. The tale goes that on a stormy night, when lightning crackled across the sky and fierce winds howled through the trees, the Bates family vanished without a trace. The townsfolk, filled with fear and curiosity, searched high and low for any sign of the family's whereabouts, but all they found were the remnants of an unsettling presence. Reports came flooding in of strange occurrences surrounding the deserted house. Neighbors whispered of spine-chilling screams heard in the dead of night, echoing through the abandoned halls of the Bates residence. Some claimed to have witnessed eerie shadows darting across the windows, while others spoke of the unsettling feeling that they were being watched, even from the safety of their own homes. One brave soul, a local journalist, determined to uncover the truth, dared to venture into the Bates residence. Armed with a camera and nerves of steel, he tiptoed through the creaking door and into the darkness that loomed within. Every step he took was a testament to his bravery, as whispers seemed to fill the air and wind drafts brushed against his skin. As he wandered deeper into the house, he stumbled upon an attic that sent shivers down his spine. The air grew heavy and a sense of dread engulfed him. Cloaked in darkness, he discovered an old diary, faintly illuminated by the moonlight that seeped through the cracks in the roof. The diary belonged to Emily Bates, the youngest member of the ill-fated family. Its pages held a chilling account of her experiences, detailing her growing terror as a malevolent force consumed their lives. She described whispers in the night, doors slamming shut on their own, and windows forever rattling with an otherworldly force. The journalist's heart pounded as he read Emily's last entry, which spoke of an ancient curse that had plagued the Bates residence for centuries. It told of a vengeful spirit trapped within its walls, haunting all who dared to enter. Filled with newfound knowledge, the journalist made a hasty retreat from the house, his mind haunted by the horrors he had witnessed. He vowed to tell the world of the Bates residence to ensure that no others would fall victim to the same ghoulish fate. And so the legend of the Bates residence lives on, a chilling reminder of the supernatural forces that can creep into even the most tranquil of places. To this day, locals of the small Towns still speak of its horrors, warning others to heed the ghostly tales and stay far away from the house. That holds a secret, buried deep within its walls. Are you ready to be captivated by a spine-chilling tale that will send shivers down your spine? Gather round, my friends, for I have a bone-chilling story to share that will make your blood turn to ice. It all happened on a dark, moonless night just like tonight. A group of brave souls decided to explore an abandoned house, known to be haunted by the tormented spirits of its former inhabitants. They were curious, perhaps foolishly so, but the lure of the supernatural was too potent to resist. As they cautiously entered the dilapidated house, a heavy atmosphere surrounded them. The air felt heavy with the presence of something malevolent. Creaking floorboards echoed through the eerie silence, as if the house itself was alive, resisting their intrusion. Suddenly they heard a faint whisper, so faint that it could hardly be distinguished from the wind. Unease gripped their hearts, but curiosity propelled them deeper into the darkness. They climbed the twisting staircase that led to the upper floors, each step groaning under their weight. The second floor was even more decrepit than the first, with peeling wallpaper and broken furniture scattered across the rooms. As they explored further, a chilling voice echoed through the hallway. It seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere simultaneously, invoking a fear that clawed at their very souls. They followed the haunting voice, drawn to a door that stood slightly ajar. Gently pushing it open, they found themselves in a room frozen in time. Dust-covered furniture and faded photographs adorned the walls, telling the story of a life once lived. But it was the mirror at the far end of the room that held their gaze. As they stared into its depths, the reflection revealed something hideous. Their own faces contorted with fear, yet their bodies remained motionless. Their eyes widened in terror as they realized they were trapped within the mirror's enigmatic embrace. Panic surged through their veins as they struggled to break free, but the mirror held them in its spectral grip. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months as they remained imprisoned within the mirror's never-ending nightmare. The real world slipped away, replaced only by darkness and despair. The haunting voice continued to echo, mocking their futile attempts to escape. And so, my friends, heed this cautionary tale. Do not tread lightly into the realm of the supernatural, for the line between curiosity and horror is perilously thin. The spirits of the past, disturbed from their eternal slumber, may seek to claim those who dare to confront their domain. As you lay in your bed tonight, remember this tale of the abandoned house and the mirror that ensnared the souls of the curious. As the wind howls eerily outside, know that the dark forces of the supernatural may lurk just beyond your reach, waiting patiently to claim their next unsuspecting victim. Sleep tight, for the night is long, and the terrors of real life. Horror stories are closer than you may think. The haunting of a fateful night. Once upon a time, in the chilling depths of a haunted house, an unfortunate soul found themselves trapped within its eerie confines. It was a night like no other. The dark shadows danced ominously, casting an unrelenting dread upon the trembling form of the person who dared to stay alone. Every creaking floorboard was like a footfall of malevolence, echoing through the deserted halls, taunting their fragile sanity. Outside, the wind howled a mournful symphony, as if the spirits themselves were lamenting their eternal imprisonment within this accursed dwelling. As the hours slipped away, the silence of the house was broken by whispers, barely audible but filled with malicious intent. The flickering lights, playing their treacherous games, seemed to mock the feeble attempts to maintain a semblance of normalcy. There was an otherworldly aura that permeated the air, choking any hope of escape. In every corner of the house, phantasmal apparitions lurked, their ethereal forms flickered in and out of view, whispering untold horrors from the shadows. Each glance over the shoulder revealed nothing but a fleeting glimpse of terror, leaving a chilling sensation that crawled up the spine. Suddenly the atmosphere became suffocatingly heavy. An icy breeze swept through the room, as if the very breath of demons had silently invaded. A portrait on the wall seemed to twist with the wind, distorting into a grotesque visage that filled the heart with unrelenting dread. Footsteps, hauntingly slow, echoed in the distance, growing louder with each passing second. The floors seemed to yield under the weight of unseen forces, a macabre dance celebrating the misery of the trapped soul. Fear consumed every thought, every heartbeat pounding like a war drum. In a desperate pursuit of reprieve, the lone figure locked themselves within a room, hoping to find solace behind the creaky wooden door. Yet even within this refuge, the terror refused to abate. The walls seemed to whisper secrets, tormenting their fragile psyche. An ungodly presence loomed closer, their static charge filling the air. The sound of nails screeching across a chalkboard pierced the stillness, leaving an indelible mark on sanity. Shadows twisted and contorted, adopting grotesque shapes that defied the boundaries of reality. Just as all hope seemed lost, a faint glimmer of dawn cut through the darkness. The house let out a final scream of defiance, as if cursing its failure to claim another victim. As the sunlight bathed the once dreaded abode, the spirits retreated into the shadows, fading into obscurity. The ordeal came to an end, leaving the survivor forever changed. Their heart thudded in their chest, their nerves forever tinged with a sense of lingering unease. From that day forward, alone or not, they would forever remember the haunting night they confronted. The malevolent supernatural forces within their home, so beware. Dear reader, for the horrors that lay hidden in the darkest corners of solitude may be far more vicious than one's imagination can fathom. Pray that you never find yourself alone, bound within a house whose secrets refuse to stay buried. It was a dark and stormy night, and I was home alone with my dad. I had known for a while that there was something off about him, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. As we sat in the living room, the power suddenly went out, and I was plunged into darkness. I fumbled for my phone and turned on the flashlight, shining it on my dad's face. But what I saw was not the face of my dad. It was a grotesque, swirling mass of shifting shapes and shadows. I screamed and stumbled backwards, my heart racing in terror. The creature before me let out a guttural growl, and in an instant, it morphed back into the form of my dad. But I knew now that this was not my real father. I had heard rumors and whispers in the town about creatures that could take on the form of others, and I realized that my dad was one of them. My mind reeled with fear and confusion. How long had this thing been pretending to be my dad? What did it want from me? I knew I had to get out of the house, but as I scrambled to my feet, the creature lunged at me with inhuman speed. I dodged out of the way and ran for the door, my heart pounding in my chest. As I burst out into the stormy night, I could feel the creature's presence behind me, chasing me with relentless determination. I ran blindly through the woods, the branches tearing at my clothes, and the rain soaking me to the bone. I could hear the creature's footsteps behind me, and I knew that I was running out of time. But just as I thought that all hope was lost, I stumbled upon a clearing with an old abandoned church. I sprinted towards the church, desperation lending speed to my steps. As I reached the door, I yanked it open and stumbled inside. The creature screeched in frustration. Unable to follow me into the sacred space, I collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath and thanking whatever higher power had led me to safety. As I sat there, shaking and exhausted, I knew that I could never look at my dad the same way again. The shape-shifting creature had nearly taken me, and I knew that I would have to be constantly vigilant from now on. The memory of that night still haunts me, and I pray that the creature will never find me again. But I know that as long as it is out there, I will never truly be safe. In the desolate town of Enfield, a sinister presence lurks in the shadows, waiting to strike fear into the hearts of the unsuspecting. Residents. This spine-chilling tale begins with the Enfield Monster, a hideous creature that terrorizes the streets and plunges the town into a state of unending horror. The Enfield Monster has an otherworldly appearance, with leathery skin as dark as the midnight hour. Its blood-red eyes gleam with a malevolence that sends shivers cascading down your spine. Its grotesque form, towering above the tallest buildings, instills a crippling fear in anyone unfortunate enough to cross its path. As night falls upon Enfield, whispers of its existence drift through the eerie mist that settles over the town. People lock themselves away in their homes, trembling behind closed doors, afraid to venture out into the unknown. The Enfield Monster, drawn to the faintest flicker of movement, prowls the deserted streets, seeking its next victim. The creature's unearthly howls pierce the silence of the night, echoing through the desolate alleyways. Each scream is a haunting reminder of the inevitable doom that awaits those who dare to confront this abomination. The Enfield Monster leaves a trail of destruction in its wake, leaving a chilling reminder of its terrifying power. Rumors swirl amongst the terrified townsfolk, each tale more horrifying than the last. They speak of missing persons snatched away by the claws of the Enfield Monster, never to be seen again. Fear spreads like wildfire, consuming hope and replacing it with a paralyzing terror that infects every corner of Enfield. Driven by a thirst for blood, the Enfield Monster is relentless in its pursuit. It is a force of darkness, feeding off the despair of the town's inhabitants, relishing in the fear that courses through their veins. No amount of pleading or hiding can save the unfortunate souls that cross its path. Enfield transforms into a ghost town, its once bustling streets now abandoned and consumed by an eerie stillness. The air grows heavy with an oppressive dread,
as if nature itself recoils
in terror of the Enfield Monster's terrible presence. In the depths of darkness, hope flickers like a dying ember. The people of Enfield impatiently await a hero, someone brave enough to face the horrors that plague their town. Will they rise against this nightmarish creature and reclaim their home from its clutches? Or will they succumb to the inevitable fate that awaits them? Only time will reveal the ultimate destiny of the Enfield Monster, as the unlucky few who dare to defy it. Until then, the streets of Enfield remain shrouded in a suffocating darkness, forever haunted by the chilling nightmare. That is the Enfield Monster. Title: Unveiling the Demonic Secrets Within My Mother from Hell. In the darkest corners of our fears, where reality blends with nightmares, lies a tale that will chill you to the bone. Prepare to have your senses assaulted as we reveal the terrifying truth about the mother who hid her demonic nature from the unsuspecting world. It all began like any normal upbringing, a seemingly ordinary mother, doting, caring, and loving. But as the shadows lengthened and the veil of normalcy began to tear, sinister secrets emerged. Late at night,
I would hear strange whispers
echoing through our home, whispered words that would send shivers down any mortal spine. Curiosity led me to explore the forbidden secrets that my mother concealed. My heart pounding, I tiptoed to her bedroom, hoping to unravel the mystery that gripped my soul. As the door creaked open, a chilling scene unfolded. Before my very eyes, my mother, standing in front of a sinister altar, surrounded by flickering candles and writings in a language unknown to me. That moment of shocking revelation, that I knew the truth. My mother was no ordinary woman, but a demon from the depths of hell itself, a fiend in disguise, preying on the vulnerable souls within our family. From that day forward, our once peaceful home descended into a nightmare realm. Objects moved on their own. Voices echoed through the hallways, and a malevolent presence loomed over every corner. My siblings and I were plagued by gruesome nightmares, visions of torment unlike anything we had ever experienced. The very essence of our mother seemed to consume us, draining our innocence as we battled the encroaching darkness. The nights turned into a constant battle for survival. As my mother's demonic form would emerge from the shadows, her piercing gaze filled with pure malevolence. No longer the nurturing figure we once knew, she reveled in our suffocating fear. Evil laughter, narrator. One by one, my family members succumbed to the torment, their once vibrant souls consumed by the relentless darkness. I, the last standing against this demonic force, vowed to bring an end to the reign of terror my mother had unleashed. Swords clashing, narrator, armed with ancient texts, and the knowledge of forgotten rituals, I confronted my mother in a final showdown. As the maelstrom of good and evil clashed, the very fabric of existence itself trembled at the demonic fury we unleashed. In a dazzling and chaotic display of supernatural might, I managed to banish the demon from hell, freeing my family from its suffocating grip. The darkness dissipated, leaving behind a shattered home filled with remnants of a horrific past. Today I share my tale of horror and triumph, a reminder that sometimes the most trusted souls can hide the darkest secrets. Beware, for the line between angels and demons, love and malevolence, can blur when darkness dwells within. My cautionary tale comes to an end, a chilling reminder that the true nature of those around us may be cloaked in deep, unnerving secrecy. The demons that walk among us may wear the faces of the ones we love. It was a dark and stormy night, and I was lying in bed, trying to fall asleep. The shadows from the streetlight outside danced across my walls, casting eerie shapes in my room. Suddenly, I felt a chill run down my spine as I noticed a dark figure standing in the corner of my room. My heart started to race as I stared at the figure. Unable to move or speak, I tried to convince myself that it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But as my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I could make out the silhouette of a tall, ominous figure. It seemed to be watching me, its piercing eyes burning into my soul. I wanted to scream, but fear had taken hold of me, rendering me speechless. As I lay there, paralyzed with fear, the figure started to move toward me. Its movements were slow and deliberate, and I could hear the faint sound of its footsteps echoing through the room. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest as it drew closer and closer, the darkness enveloping me like a suffocating blanket. I desperately wanted to escape, but I was trapped in my bed, unable to move. The figure loomed over me, its presence filling the room with an overwhelming sense of dread. I could feel its icy breath on my face. As it leaned in closer, its malevolent gaze boring into my soul. I closed my eyes, hoping that it was all just a terrible nightmare. But when I opened them again, the figure was still there, a dark specter haunting my room. I wanted to scream for help, but no sound would escape my lips. It was as if the figure had stolen my voice, leaving me utterly defenseless. I tried to muster the courage to confront the figure, but every time I attempted to move, I was overcome with a paralyzing sense of terror. It was as if the figure had cast a spell over me, making it impossible for me to resist its sinister presence. I don't know how long I lay there, locked in a silent battle with the dark figure in my room. It felt like an eternity, the air heavy with a suffocating sense of dread. And then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the figure vanished into thin air, leaving me trembling and gasping for breath. I was left shaken and terrified, haunted by the memory of the dark figure in my room. I don't know what it was or why it had come for me, but I knew that I would never forget the bone-chilling terror of that fateful night. And even now, as I lie in bed, I can't shake the feeling that the figure is still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike again. Title: Beware the Shape-Shifting Beast, My Dog. The skinwalker once upon a moonlit night, darkness veiled the sleepy town, casting an eerie spell upon its unsuspecting inhabitants. Legend spoke of a creature, a notorious fiend that prowled the surrounding woods, known as the Skinwalker. This ghastly being possessed the power to transform into any earthly shape it desired, utilizing the newly assumed forms to wreak havoc and terrorize innocent souls. In this tale of pure horror, my dearest companion, a loyal and seemingly innocent dog, was bestowed with a dark curse, transforming him into the very creature that had haunted these woods for centuries. The once joyful wag of his tail now carried a sinister secret. It began innocuously, as such tales often do. Our peaceful life was abruptly shattered when my precious pup disappeared into the eerie wilderness, chasing something assumedly frivolous. Hours turned to days, and unbearable anxiety clawed at my heart, threatening to reveal unspoken fears. And then, one ominous night, he returned. Yet his arrival was no cause for celebration. His once friendly eyes now glowed with a malevolent gleam that sent chills down my spine. Strange occurrences soon manifested throughout the household, eerie noises echoing through the halls. When darkness cloaked our home, guests, once captivated by his adorable presence, now found themselves experiencing an inexplicable uneasiness. When he was near, shadows seemed to trail his every move, an ethereal presence ever lurking. The house itself seemed to whisper, warning us of the creature in disguise within our midst. Night after night, a ghastly transformation would unfold as the moon ascended its throne in the midnight sky. My companion's limbs twisted and contorted, fur giving way to leathery appendages. His once familiar bark morphed into a ghoul's dreadful howl, chilling the marrow in my bones. Terrified but resolute, I embarked on a treacherous journey to unearth an ancient remedy, seeking guidance from those who traversed similar depths of darkness. Whispers of forgotten rituals and long-lost incantations led me to a hidden journey, coated in dust and reeking of ancient dread. The enigmatic instructions described a daunting path, yet I was compelled to undertake it for the sake of my beloved cursed companion. Armed with newfound knowledge, I ventured into the heart of the haunted woods, clutching tightly to the scraps of hope I carried. Each step was laden with trepidation, every rustle of a branch echoing ominous warnings. The ritual consumed me, spanning nights of whispered mantras and blood sacrifices under the gaze of a red moon.
My voice trembled as I chanted the final words
That would free my once faithful friend from the malevolent influence of the Skinwalker's curse. And then silence. The air grew heavy, the forest holding its breath, as anticipation hung in the night's embrace. An unearthly howl shattered the stillness, reverberating through the depths of the woods. When the dust settled, a familiar face emerged, my dog, no longer tainted by the dark forces that had held him captive. His eyes, now filled with gratitude, met mine, final remnants of his tormented past replaced by a newfound serenity. The haunting chapter of my dog's life had drawn to a close. Our bond, tested through the darkest of nights, emerged stronger than ever. Together we braved the terrifying abyss, emerging victoriously and carrying with us a tale of shadows and redemption, one that would never be forgotten, lest it be lost in the deepest recesses of nightmares. So, dear reader, heed my warning. In the twisted realm where the line between innocence and malevolence blurs, even the most cherished can become the embodiment of terror. Dare not underestimate the sinister powers lurking beneath a familiar facade, for the Skinwalker is but a shadow away, waiting to devour the unsuspecting souls treading upon its path. It was a dark and stormy night, the kind that sends shivers down your spine and makes you fear the unknown. Sarah, a young college student, found herself walking down a lonely road in the middle of nowhere. The rain was pelting down, and the wind was howling like a pack of wolves. She had no choice but to keep driving, hoping to find shelter before the storm got even worse. As she drove, the road seemed to stretch on endlessly, and she couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching her from the shadows. Her heart raced as she saw a figure up ahead on the road. She slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. The figure vanished into thin air, as her car skidded to a stop. Shaken, Sarah stepped out of the car to investigate, but there was nobody there. She chalked it up to her imagination, running wild in the storm, and got back in her car. But as she drove on, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being followed. Finally, she spotted a lone house up ahead and pulled into the driveway, desperate for shelter. The house loomed over her, its windows dark and foreboding. Ignoring the sense of unease that prickled at the back of her neck, she knocked on the door. To her relief, the door creaked open, and a kind old woman welcomed her inside. But as Sarah entered the house, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The old woman offered her a warm drink and a place to stay for the night. But as Sarah looked around, she noticed strange relics and artifacts decorating the walls: a human skull, a tattered old book covered in strange symbols, and a dusty old mirror that seemed to hold secrets of its own. That night, as Sarah lay in bed, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was not alone. She heard strange whispers and creaks in the house, and the feeling of being watched grew stronger by the minute. Suddenly, she heard footsteps outside her door, slow and deliberate. She held her breath as the door creaked open, and to her horror she saw the figure from the road, standing in the doorway, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Terrified, she bolted from the bed and ran through the house, trying to escape the figure that pursued her with relentless determination. As she reached the front door, she turned back for one last look and saw the old woman's face, twisted into a grotesque grin, her eyes black and empty. Sarah burst through the front door and ran into the storm, the figure hot on her heel. But as she stumbled through the woods, she saw a glimmer of light in the distance and ran towards it, her heart pounding in her chest. Finally, she reached the road and saw the bright lights of an approaching car. She frantically flagged it down, and as the driver stopped to help her, she looked back into the woods and saw nothing but darkness. To this day, Sarah swears she saw something otherworldly that night, something that was not of this world. And as she tells her story, she warns others to be wary of the old house in the woods, for there are things that lurk in the darkness, waiting to ensnare unsuspecting travelers. Titled Real Life Haunting, the tale of the abandoned Victorian mansions. Upon a time in a small town, nestled amidst ancient woods, stood an abandoned Victorian mansion, shrouded in mystery and whispered tales. This eerie residence, known as Gravestone Manor, held a dark secret that would send shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. Generations of locals had shared spine-chilling stories about the inexplicable occurrences within those decaying walls. The tale first emerged in the late 1800s, when the mansion's original owner, the wealthy recluse Mr. Augustus Gravestone, disappeared without a trace. Legends spoke of restless spirits plaguing the premises, their tormented whispers echoing through the empty corridors. Terrified townsfolk claimed to have witnessed phantom figures roaming the moonlit gardens, while others swore they heard anguished cries carried on the chilling wind. As the decades passed, courageous urban explorers and intrepid paranormal investigators ventured into Gravestone Manor, eager to uncover the truth behind the supernatural tales. They entered armed with cameras, recording devices, and a mix of curiosity and trepidation. One such group of investigators dared to enter this haunted icon. The moment the doors creaked open, a sinister gust of wind seemed to guide their way. Each step brought them deeper into darkness and uncertainty. Shadows danced on the walls, their distorted shapes playing with the investigators' and imagination. In an instant, their equipment sparkled with spectral energy, capturing ethereal figures in photographs and recording spine-tingling whispers that seemed to defy logic. Their hearts raced as unseen forces pushed them, urging them closer to rooms where tortured souls were said to have met their tragic end. Inside the mansion, their flashlights pierced the veil of night, illuminating paintings with eyes that seemed to follow their every move. Whispers became audible, growing louder and more menacing. The investigators clung to each other, trembling with fear and anticipation. Suddenly, they stumbled upon a hidden chamber, concealed behind a secret bookcase door. Rotting books lined the shelves, and a faint odor of decay filled the air. In the dim light, they discovered a diary, its pages stained and weathered. It belonged to Mr. Gravestone, the mansion's enigmatic owner. With trembling hands, they read of his obsession with the occult and his desperate attempts to communicate with the spirits that haunted him as they delved into the diary's depths. A thick fog enveloped the room, swallowing the investigators. In an otherworldly haze, the air grew icy and the ghostly apparitions converged, their tormented wails escalating in intensity. Panic ensued as doors slammed shut, trapping the investigators inside. The spirits seemed to feed upon their fear, growing stronger, and their presence palpable. But just as all hope seemed lost, a flash of light pierced the darkness. A voice filled with both rage and despair screamed an incantation that shattered the malevolent entities. The doors flew open, releasing the investigators from their ghostly prison. Gasping for breath, they stumbled to safety, vowing never to return to the haunted Gravestone Manor. The mansion would remain a dreaded landmark, a testament to the chilling realities that dwell beyond the veil of our understanding. To this day, its ghostly whispers continue to echo, enchanting those brave enough to venture near. Gravestone Manor stands as a chilling reminder that the boundary between the living and the dead may sometimes blur, leaving us forever haunted by the tales of the supernatural that exist in the annals of real life.
In 1817, John and Lucy Bell moved into a small farm in Adams, Tennessee, hoping to start a new life. They were a happy family with 6 children, but their dreams of a peaceful existence were short-lived. At first, the strange noises were subtle, faint knocking sounds, whispers, and creaks. The family thought it was just the old house settling, but soon the occurrences became more frequent and intense. The knocking sounds turned into loud bangs, and the whispers became menacing voices. The entity, which came to be known as the Bell Witch, began to physically attack the family and their visitors. It would pull their hair, pinch them, and even throw objects at them. The family tried to ignore it, but the Bell Witch's antics only grew more aggressive. One night, the entity spoke to the family in a deep, raspy voice, claiming to be the spirit of a woman named Kate Batts, who had been wronged by John Bell in a land dispute. The Bell Witch vowed to torment the family until they left the farm. The story of the Bell Witch spread like wildfire, attracting visitors from all over the country. People came to witness the phenomenon, hoping to catch a glimpse of the malevolent entity. Even Andrew Jackson, the future president, visited the farm to investigate. Despite the chaos, the Bell family tried to maintain a sense of normalcy, but the Bell Witch's constant presence wore them down. The children were traumatized, and Lucy Bell became ill from the stress. In 1820, John Bell fell into a mysterious coma, and the Bell Witch's activity reached a fever pitch. The entity would manifest in different rooms, causing objects to move on their own. Visitors reported seeing strange lights and hearing disembodied voices. When John Bell finally passed away, the family was devastated. They believed the Bell Witch had finally achieved its goal, to claim the life of the patriarch. But the Bell Witch didn't stop there. It continued to haunt the farm, tormenting the family and their visitors. The entity's final message was, "I'll be back." The Bell family was forced to abandon their farm, leaving behind the malevolent spirit. The farm remained vacant for years, a testament to the horror that had unfolded there. To this day, the Bell Witch's identity and motivations remain a mystery. Some believe it was a malevolent spirit, while others think it was a manifestation of the family's own fears and guilt. But one thing is certain, the Bell Witch's legacy continues to haunt the small town of Adams, Tennessee, a chilling reminder that some horrors are too great to be forgotten.